special, wonderful friend, Odepida.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember his first name, but I know his surname is very. I remember it more than his first name. So Odepidan.
Okay. His first name
David.
is
I think his name is David. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Name is David. All right. Thank you, Kechi. It's good to have you on the call, and every other person that has joined. Welcome to today's session. My name is Rukere Kerijai. An amazing session and time with our facilitator, and I'm sure we're all ready to learn from his wealth of knowledge and experience. So, okay, amazing and insightful. All right, so for today's session, we have our facilitator on the call. He's no other than Thando Jacobs. He's a business analyst consultant with over 7 years experience helping businesses and technical teams to deliver change. He's also the host of the Inside Business Analyst podcast, and he's also part of the Young Business Analyst team. So without wasting much time, I would love to bring up our speaker for today so we can go ahead with the session. Hi, Thando. Are you with us?
Hello, everyone.
Hi, it's good to have you on the call. We thank you for responding to our call and being here to, share your wealth of knowledge and experience with us. We look forward to learning a lot, and we know we are going to have an amazing time too. So thank you very much, Thando. I'll hand over to you.
Thank you, Ricky. Thank you, David, for inviting me as well. So good evening, wherever you're joining from. I'm Thando Jacobs, and today I'm going to be talking to you about LinkedIn, and more specifically just around how you can leverage LinkedIn for job seeking and job hunting and getting a job as a business analyst. But just so I'm clear around who we have in the room, would you put in the chat the number 1 if you are a business analyst, and then number 2 if you are not a business analyst but would you're looking to become a business analyst. Just put it in the chat. Number 1 if you are a business analyst, and number 2 if you are looking to become a business analyst, just so I can see the demographic of people that we have in the room. Awesome. I can see the numbers coming through. So we've got a lot of number 1s, and Lillian, you're the only one who's number 2 at the minute, but don't worry, you'll join us on the number 1 side as well soon. Okay, so we've got business analysts on the call, and so that's good. And then put a number 3 in the chat if you currently have LinkedIn, or put a number 4 if you don't have LinkedIn. Let's see what the story is. Awesome. Okay, so we got LinkedIn users in the room. That's good. And then put a number 5 if 2, 4. Oh, okay. 2, 3, 2, 4. I'm not sure, Kenny, where you stand on that one. You're in the middle, I see. Oh, 2, 3. No problem. Okay, great. And then put a number 5 if within the next 3 months you're looking to get a new job as a business analyst, or a number 6 if you're thinking ahead but you're not actively looking for a new job within the next 3 months. So number 5 if you're looking for a new job within the next 3 months. Number 6 if you're not looking, or you're casually looking but not really. Okay, right. So we've got business analysts on the call who are looking for new jobs, and you have LinkedIn profile, so that's good. And for those of you who are not business analysts yet, I'm sure you'll learn something from this as well. And I'm glad to hear that, because obviously that's effectively what this call is about. So I'm happy to hear that I'm not wasting your time and going through something you're not interested in. So I'm going to share my screen, and then we'll jump right into it. And then what I'm going to do at the end is really just, if you have any questions, feel free to kind of save them till the end, or you can put them in the chat, and then I'll kind of read through them after I've finished my presentation, so to speak. Is that okay with everyone? Is that good? I'm assuming so. So let's let me share my screen. I just need to figure out which one it is. You know what? Let me which is it? Excuse me, Pete. Need to find the thing. There it is. All right. Okay. Let's go for it. So there we go. So mastering LinkedIn for business analysts. That's really today's session, and we're looking at how you can effectively leverage LinkedIn to find opportunities, and also obviously build your professional network. Why is LinkedIn important? Well, first of all, LinkedIn is important for a number of reasons. Hold on, my slides look weird. Give me 1 second. This is not so no.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, so why LinkedIn? Well, if you look at the things on the left, right, the things on the left are kind of the traditional things that we typically focus on when we're looking for jobs. You look for a CV, cover letter, word of mouth, which is kind of any people who refer you or kind of reach out to you because somebody else has referred you to them, or in-person events. So for those of you who have ever been to any in-person events, like if you've been to like a conference or some sort of thing where there's a stand or a stall that employers are there, and you reach out to them, and then they say, yeah, we've got openings, and then you strike a conversation. But if you think about the things on the left, right, the things on the left are still there, and they're still good to do, but really and truly, let's think about your CV and your cover letter. Well, most of the times you're applying via a website, a portal, and you will never really know who the hiring manager is, or even who the recruiter is on a personal level, and you're just hoping that somebody's going to call you one day, right? Word of mouth, again, you can't do anything about. You kind of that just happens outside of your control. And in-person events are great, but it's not that there's many in-person events that happen that are related to you getting a job, and even if there were, that would be a lot of time and effort on your part to be going to these in-person events. So the reason why LinkedIn is important, which for all of you who do have LinkedIn, hopefully you will see this in play. Number one, it helps you to do the things on the right, which is to build your brand, as in your brand as a business analyst, to build your professional brand as somebody who is passionate about business analyst, knows business analysis, or is interested to become a business analyst. Number two, it helps you to showcase your portfolio. And it's quite an interesting thing because as BAs, we don't have a strict portfolio. For example, UX UI guys can kind of showcase the UX UI designs they've done, or developers can showcase the code they've written or whatever, or even the softwares they've built. Whereas for our perspective, you have to be a bit more what's the word? A bit more the word is gone. A bit more think outside the box, basically, in terms of how you showcase your portfolio, which is about potentially writing posts on LinkedIn or writing the projects that you've worked on your LinkedIn profile and things like that, because that helps to showcase your portfolio. And then the third thing is then virtual professional networks. Every single person in this call right now, we can all think of each other as a virtual professional network in this moment right now. And everybody right now could also say, hey, connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you want to, I dare you, put your LinkedIn profile URL in the chat and say, connect with me, right? That's how you build the connections. And look how simple it is to do from LinkedIn as opposed to an in-person event. You know what I mean? So that's the benefits of LinkedIn as a whole. But when it comes to job hunting, it's definitely powerful. Now, a bit about me, for those of you who don't know. My name is let's go back. There you go. My name is Thando Jacobs. I am a business analyst, and I've been a BA for over 7 years even. I need to update the slides. And before I was a business analyst, I was working in sales, so a completely different world. I was not even working on projects, and I put in the work to switch careers to become a business analyst, and LinkedIn played a big role in that transition. And why should you listen to me? Well, I've been taking LinkedIn somewhat seriously for the last 3 years. Now I don't know everything, but I've kind of seen some things happening on LinkedIn, and I've kind of seen kind of what works and what's required. I've learned kind of what people say is good to have, particularly recruiters and things like that. And that's just how many followers and connections I have on LinkedIn. Which put that together, that's 8,000 people. But that's not important. I'm not going to lie. That's not even the important bit. The important bit in my mind is this right here. Look at this. This is a DM that I got the other day. New contract opportunity, top 5 tech client, business analyst for 6 months. Hey Thando, I hope you're doing well, and don't mind me reaching out to you directly, but I came across your profile and was immediately impressed by your experience, and I wanted to let you know about an exciting new opportunity I have with a top 5 tech client. Now, I don't know about you, but this to me is strange. Let me tell you why. In what world have you ever seen a recruiter reach out to you? Number one. Number two, in what world have you seen a recruiter recruiting for a job reach out to you and say, I've got a job, do you want it? Obviously, you have to go through interviews. But the point I'm making is, let's remove LinkedIn from the picture here. Number one, this recruiter would have never emailed me or called me. Let's be honest. In fact, they would have even known to. The only way they would have known to email me or call me would have been if I applied with my CV where my contact details are. But with this, I didn't even hear about this job, right? They reached out to me. Number two, they were like, I came across your profile. So it wasn't my CV. It wasn't like somebody told them to reach out to me. They did something on LinkedIn and found my profile. I want you to realize how powerful that is. They searched for something on LinkedIn. So let's put ourselves in the shoes of a recruiter. I'm a recruiter. I've spoken to the hiring manager and they've told me, we need a business analyst. I go on LinkedIn. I search for a business analyst or a number of business analysts, and I reach out to those business analysts. So the recruiter's doing the work now. That's different because the recruiter before would have put a job advert on Indeed, Read, and CV Library and all of these places and just waited for people to apply. Now that still happens, of course, but LinkedIn is a little bit different in that it allows the recruiter to actually source people that they think are good for the job that they're hiring for by finding their profile. That's wild to me. I'm sorry, but that is so wild to me. That this is the way LinkedIn works. It just completely turns the whole job seeking thing on its head, upside down. And the guy says he was immediately impressed by my experience, which again, I didn't tell him. How did he know? My LinkedIn profile. And I want you to let you know about a new opportunity I have. That is wild too. That is so wild because clearly he knows what the hiring manager is looking for. He's seen my profile and it's like, yo, these two go together. Let me make the match. So that for me, this right here is really why you should take LinkedIn seriously, and also why you shouldn't just like do it haphazardly. Take it seriously because this is the kind of things that you want to do. You want to be in a position where you're no longer just the one who is applying for the jobs and the one who is kind of saying, I've applied and I'm waiting, but you also want to be in a position where jobs are coming to you. Like Imagine that situation. In fact, the last 2 jobs I've had, and I'm not even like lying, the last 2 jobs I've had were because of this type of interaction on LinkedIn. I didn't even know they were hiring. I wasn't even looking with the previous one, but they reached out to me and said, this is how much, we'll pay you. This is what we're looking for. All you need to do is just tell me when you're ready for an interview. And I'm just like, yo, this is crazy. This is wild. What is going on? I didn't even apply for this, but here we are. So hopefully you can now see like the power of LinkedIn, and hopefully you can also appreciate the power of LinkedIn And now let's get into the meat of it. What is it that I did to my profile? What is it that I did for me to start getting messages like this? So let's get into it. I'm not even gonna like talk what do you call it? I'm not even gonna just talk like bullet points on a spread on a slide. I'm gonna show you. Let's look at it for real. Now I want you, because let me come back to the chat here. I want you to put a number 1 on the chat if you are excited to learn about LinkedIn. If you want the DMs that I've just mentioned, you want people to start reaching out to you and saying, we have a job. Do you want it? On your LinkedIn profile. Put a 1 in the chat. I'm waiting for the ones. Come on. I love it. Okay. I got enough ones to keep going. If I didn't get the ones, I would have just called it here, Ricky. I would have just stopped the presentation, but I've got enough ones to keep going. So let me keep going. Okay, let's go. LinkedIn. Oh, where to begin with LinkedIn? Okay, so first and foremost, I want you to notice something. LinkedIn is a social media profile, but it's very, very different. So don't think of this like another Facebook, another Instagram, another TikTok, another Snapchat. Like, this is very different. Because all these other social media platforms I've mentioned, they wouldn't even land you a job. Recruiters aren't on there, right? But recruiters are on LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn, yes, it's a social media, but I want you to really think of it almost as your virtual CV, your online virtual CV. That's how I think about it. And if you think about your CV, what is the purpose of your CV? Let me just take a step back here. When you're looking for a job, you have 2 objectives. Number 1, your first objective is to get an interview. And number 2, your second objective is to get a job offer. So how do you meet the first objective? By making sure that your application stands out from the rest and getting the recruiter to call you back for an interview. That's your first objective. So how do you make sure that you succeed in the first objective? Is by having a really strong CV. Is definitely one of the best ways to do that. CV, resume, right? Make sure that it's really strong. It sells you really well as somebody who will be good at doing that job. Now, with that in mind, your LinkedIn then becomes your virtual version of that CV. It's playing the same role. It's playing the same job of making you stand out to a recruiter. So because of that, there's things that you just have to do to make your LinkedIn profile stand out. So let's jump into it. The first thing, really and truly, if I'm being honest with you guys, is you need a picture. You need a very good professional picture over here. Do you know if your profile does not have a picture? Or let me say it this way. If your profile has got a picture, you are 21 times more likely to be viewed by a recruiter. 21. If you have a clear picture. So for those of you who don't have pictures yet, like just putting a picture on is you've already changed your destiny immediately. So put a picture on. Number 2, and I'm going to run through this because there's a lot to go through, and I also want to make sure there's time for questions, and I can see that it's 7:24, and David is busy texting me saying, hurry up, so I'm going to hurry up. Okay, so profile picture, number 1. Number 2, banner. On your banner. Now you can see on my banner, what am I doing on my banner here? What I'm doing is I'm communicating to you without saying a lot. I'm saying a lot without saying a lot. What am I saying? I'm a certified business analyst, and I've got a tagline: Catalyst for Transformation and Change. BCS. For those of you who know, BCS is like a company that basically provides business analysis certifications. IIBA, same thing. A company that provides business analysis certifications. POPM, same thing. Another type of certification you can have in the space. Now, I'm saying a lot without saying a lot, but I'm saying certified, and I'm putting BCS, IIBA, and POPM because I've got these 3. And then also, I've got kind of the degrees and the other certifications that I have, which are not directly linked to business analysis, but they're part of my journey, part of my story, is what I've got. And then in big writing, my email address. So you don't even need to scroll down to know how to get in touch with me, to know the kind of experience that I have, and to know the kind of I guess knowledge that I have, should I say, in the world of business analysis. If you want to get in touch with me, it's already right there in your face. You don't need to search for it. You don't need to look for it. You don't need to DM me, email me. It's there, right? But make your banner speak without saying a lot. It's basically the key here. The third thing, so number one, your picture. Number two, your banner. Number three, it's going to be your tagline. So your tagline it's really good for a number of reasons. But I'll probably say the main thing is just make sure that you're being clear around, like, I guess, what is it exactly that you want to come across as, if that makes sense, right? Your headline is called, I think. It's actually, for those of you who understand algorithm and social media, you will understand that your headline, you will understand something called keywords. So keywords are things that people search for on the search bar over here. And your headline is very powerful as far as keywords are concerned. So if I'm to search business analyst consultant, right, on the search bar, your headline will play a part in that. So you can see the headline, business analyst consultant at Hippo. Business analyst, I'm sure they'll go consultant somewhere down the road. Business analyst professional, they'll go consultant down the line somewhere. And if I just filter that by people, it is going to be your headline that people see the most. So your headline is quite important to make sure that it speaks to that. Now, if you're not a business analyst, you can even put things like aspiring business analyst, aiming to become a business analyst, because that's your goal. But headline, number three, headline. Let's go back, profile. So, come on, don't fail me now, man. All right, so number one is your picture. Number two is your banner. Number three is your headline, right? Now you can notice from my perspective, I actually haven't put the name of my employer. Some people put like their job titles, and I think that's okay, right? But if you have a job title that's a bit funny, like you might even have a job title that's like not really business analysis, but that's what your company knows you as. That doesn't mean that has to be your headline. Like, this profile is up to you how you do it, right? You have the power to sell yourself in the way that you feel is best. And so I just put passionate business analyst consultant. I don't put where I work or the name of the company that I work for, because my aim is to promote me, really. But if I'm not going to lie to you, if like I could put in here X London Stock Exchange Group and X Royal Bank of Scotland, or X this and X that company, because I've worked in all those companies. But I want to make sure that this speaks to me. Now, I also have a podcast, so that's why I've also put that on here. But you don't. This is a separate thing now. For job hunting, if I was only focused on using this for jobs, I would have then put other things on here that are related to a business analyst job. But anyway, let me run. Another thing that's important is going to be your about section. Your about section is actually really important, because again, coming back to the thing I mentioned earlier, when someone searches up here, your about section plays a part. Now, you can notice in my about section, I've got 3 paragraphs, kind of just summarizing my experience, but then I've got a lot of keywords. I'm just stuffing keywords here, because and again, for someone who's coming across this concept for the first time, a keyword is something that you search for on here. It's the same thing that happens in Google, same thing that happens on YouTube. When you search for a topic or you search for something on the search bar, the algorithm will try and find things that match that closely. So I'm tempting to match someone that might search, for example, if they put business analyst and FX trading, for example. I'm like, yeah, I'm putting that on there, because they might search for that. They might be looking for business analysts in the FX trading platform space. This is you have about 200 character limit or something. I can't remember exactly what it is, but you want to make sure that this portion here summarizes your skill set, your experience, your knowledge, and also you have kind of sections like this where you can put keywords in there. So, I've got Visio, I've got Balsamic. For those of you who know Balsamic, I've got Confluence, Jira, Lucid Chart. I'm putting it all in there because I want to showcase my experience. And all of this is on the about section, right? The next bit, which is actually probably really key, is going to be your experience. Now you will notice, let me open my experience a bit more. Anyway, let's just find out. There we go, CO12 experiences. Right, this is all my experience, and I've gone all the way back. So this experience doesn't just include like business analyst jobs. I've included every job I've ever had, and what I've done. Now, let me show you how I've done this. So my job was a newspaper deliverer. Now, some of you might be thinking, there's not much you can say about that. All I do is deliver newspapers, right? That's it. That's the end of the. Like, why even put that on my LinkedIn? Well, I've just done it because I can actually use this job to show how it links to these skills, and I'll come back to this a little bit later on. And I've put, for example, I packaged over 300 newspapers every week, and I delivered 300 through over 300 houses every week. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. You meet the average newspaper deliverer, they will not even think in this way. They will just think, all I do is deliver newspapers now. It's simple. What do you mean? Like, what else am I going to say to that? Whereas I'm reframing my experience in a way that sounds like somebody who measures metrics, somebody who measures KPIs, somebody who is thinking about their job more than just their to-do list. That's why I've done it this way. But more importantly, when you're now looking at your other experiences, particularly the ones that are BA related, you can see now the list is starting to grow, and I've split it down into two sections. What was my roles and responsibilities, and what was my achievements in these places? I've measured everything, and every job on here has got roles and responsibilities and achievements. And again, why? Because this is the kind of thing, coming back to this message I showed you here. Let's go back to it. What did it say? It says, I came across your profile and I was immediately impressed by what? By your experience. Which is what? Which is all of this. All of this. All of this is your experience. So I'm putting it in there. I'm making you know exactly what I've been up to, what I've been doing, what are my roles and responsibilities. Do you know what's so funny? If you look at my CV is not even this detailed. This is for me. This is what I was saying earlier. You need to see this as your virtual CV. This for me is like almost like my master CV, and then my actual CV that I used to apply for jobs is like the condensed version of this. Because you can't fit all of this in a CV. But I'm using my LinkedIn to sell me fully, and I've gone all the way back to jobs I've had before I was a business analyst. But I'm still selling myself. So let's move on. So that's experience section. Now you can see here, in fact, before I move on, because this links to the next point, you will notice something. You will notice that on LinkedIn, what it does is it has your job title, your company, and all the rest of it, and then the see more button to see what I've typed in for that job. But right at the bottom here, it's got an interesting link, and it's got 25 skills. So if I click on that, it will show me the skills that are linked to that job. Now, where is this getting it from? Well, and if I open all experiences, show all 12 experiences, you can see there's a skills section at the bottom here. I didn't type this in. This is added by LinkedIn. I didn't type this in. Look at this. Skills, right? Where's this from? Well, there's a skills section on your LinkedIn profile. So let's go, let me skip this. Let me skip that. Where's skills? There it is, skills. You have a skills section. You can put in, I can't remember the exact number, but you can put in quite a lot of skills. I've got 55 skills on there at the minute. And whenever you add a new skill, right? Let's add a new skill. Let's just say a communication. You can then pick which of the jobs that skill relates to, and that's how that skills bit shows up on those experience bit. And also, if you want to link it to a education, link it to a certification, link it to a project, link it to a volunteering thing that you do, you can do that. Now, no thanks. Let's not do that. Let's come out of this. Oh, discard. Sorry, discard. Right. I think it's 60, but I can't remember exactly how many skills. Maybe LinkedIn's changed since I last looked at it. But again, this section is really, really important. Let me show you why. Let's look at a job. So This is LinkedIn jobs, for those of you who know. And where's the job I was looking at earlier? Is it this one? I can't even remember. But anyhow, look at this bit here that says skills. Listed for this job. What LinkedIn does is it looks at the skills listed for a job and the skills on your profile, and it will almost basically tell you how am I a good fit for this job. There is, like, all that would do is tell you, I don't have premium anymore. I used to, but I don't anymore. All that would tell you if you had premium, it would have literally listed all the skills this job advert has, and then how many of them I tick against. But it only knows to do that based on the skills that I've put on my profile. And this is how a recruiter finds your profile. Let's go back to this message. Remember, the recruiter found my profile. I didn't do anything. How did they do it? They didn't search for Thando Jacobs up here. They could have, but they didn't, right? They would have searched for, maybe, for example, they would have done something like this: business analyst. Let me see, business analyst. Let me see if it works. Plus Salesforce, let's just say, right? Now watch what happens. Watch what happens. Let me go people. And look at this. Salesforce business analyst. Salesforce business analyst. Salesforce. And they have business analyst on their headline. They got business analyst, Salesforce certified on their headline. So, and I got business analyst, Salesforce in brackets. So all of these details I'm telling you, this is how recruiters are then, this is what recruiter will search for. And then based on that search, they may even put another one and put like education, because they're looking for somebody who works in higher education, for example. And then they will scour through, you can see this person's put sectors. Let me open it. I hope you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. This person put higher education in their headline because that's the industry or the sector that they specialize in. They put experienced business analyst, but they didn't stop there. The guy put sectors and then put financial services and higher education. I should do this, I should just steal this headline and put it on my own headline. But if someone searched business analyst, higher education, and Salesforce, this profile came up. And that's how it came up. But let me just follow this guy. Seems like a guy who knows his stuff. Do you see what I'm saying? Hopefully you see what I'm saying. I hope I'm not going too detailed for some of you. I hope you see what I'm saying here. Let's go back to the profile. That's how the recruiter finds your profile. It's by all the information that you got on your headline, the information you put in the about section, the information you put on your experience, and the skills that you put. Now, loads of skills. There we go. The skills that you put. I would honestly say that that's really the main things. Like, that's the main things. The rest of the things is kind of secondary as far as the weight it carries. It helps with the rest. So, for example, you've got education. You can literally put your degree certificate, right, to showcase you're not just speaking here. Like, you've got the proof of your listen to that. You got the proof of your experience, and then for those of you who have got professional certifications, you can put them on here as well. BCS, there you go, practitioner in business analysis and requirements engineering and all sorts. You can put it all in here, including the picture of the certification itself. Put it within here. Now I put it in both education and in certification because technically it is both for these BCS/IIBA type of things. And then I've put other ones that I've got on here. If you've ever been to like a training program, this was a training program by Blackmetric on strategic business analysis. It was a simple training program, but I did learn the skills on that training program. Put it on there. Put the skills. Because all of this is what helps at the end of the day to make your profile look like somebody who knows what to has the skills. You want to showcase the skills. Remember, your CV, your LinkedIn profile is like a master CV that's online. Put absolutely everything on here because there is no limit. However, with your actual CV, typically speaking, recruiters say keep it under 2 pages and bullet point stuff, and don't be too long-winded about this, that, and the other. There's all sorts of restrictions when it comes to your actual CV, but your LinkedIn profile, there are no restrictions. So I put absolutely everything. And honestly, I'm gonna stop it here because that is probably the main things, right? For you to review. For those of you who've got your LinkedIn profile, review it, go through this. Now, just really quickly, actually, how do you know which skills to add on? Let's go back to this. Like, how do you know what exactly should I be putting in? Right, 55 skills. That's a lot. What am I going to be typing in, right? And you don't want to waste it by putting things like communication. I mean, communication is fine, but I'm sorry, everybody should. That's like breathing, right? Everybody should know how to communicate, fam. What do you mean? You work in a corporate world. You should know how to communicate. I don't care the job. So you got to be a bit more specific with business analysis skills. So I've got business process design, business process management, business process analysis, business process automation. Why? Because I don't know what the recruiter might search for. So I'm putting everything on there, right? And then process mapping, business analysis, business consulting, FX business analyst, because I worked in FX, higher education business analyst. Again, the reason why I do this, for example, I worked in FX, I worked in higher education, is because somebody might literally search FX business analyst on here as what they're looking for. So I'm putting it in there as a skill set, right? So that if a recruiter searches for that kind of thing, it kind of comes up. Let me do it this way because that's how it works. There we go. So it kind of comes up. Look at this, front office FX business analyst, straight in there, right at the top. And in current FX business analyst, that's the job title that we've put in. Because it comes up, the recruiter's looking for that, and that's what the recruiter would get. So how do you know what skills to put in? How do you know what kind of information to put in? Well, when you look at a job advert, you got the skills bit here. So that gives you a clue already, first of all. Analytical skills, data analysis. Okay, these are good. Like I like this, right? There you go. Skills added to this job advert by who? The job poster. This is what the job poster said they're looking for. Copy and paste this, put it on your profile. If you have it, of course. If you have it, of course, then put it on your profile. Add skills you have. Even LinkedIn is telling you, add skills you have to your profile to stand out to the employer. LinkedIn is literally telling you to do what I'm just telling you right now. And you can do this. So you can look at other jobs and you say, okay, what are they looking for? Let's have a look. Look at this. 10 of 10 skills match your profile. You may be a good fit. Why? Because on my profile, I have all of these skills that they've listed they're looking for. In fact, I might just apply for this job right now. So anyway, I've spoken enough. Let me open up the floor for questions to begin with, because I know I've covered quite a lot, but hopefully you can see how everything links together. It's not just a profile that sits by itself. How everything then comes back to what the recruiter's searching for, and that's how the recruiter then reaches out to you to then say, "Hey, I've found your profile. Let's have a chat." Right. Questions. Let me come back to the chat. Are there any questions in the chat? Or put your hand up if you want to ask a question, or in fact just unmute yourself and go for it. Adewale, let's go for it, man. What's up?
Hello, Thando. Can I call you Thando?
Thando,
thank you very much for this opportunity, and I'll be very brief with my question. Really fabulous way of explaining how to personally optimize CV. Your LinkedIn profile, and I learned a lot. But this is just my straight up challenge. I went for a program yesterday, and I spoke with a talent acquisition team member of a popular bank in the UK, and I did not disclose my 10 years experience in financial services in my LinkedIn profile, and she asked that where is it, because that was my actual introduction. Although my resume, my my profile projects me as a business analyst. I was confused because she said, you have this back experience. Why don't you put it there? Because it's an advantage. And I was just a little bit dumbfounded in that area. So please, what's your advice, for instance, in the recruitment industry? Personally, I see that they want a 5 years experience in BA role or transferable jobs or skills to project in your profile, but something totally off the IT and business analysis is not what they really look at. So for someone like us that has had maybe more than 10 years experience, and you're just looking at projecting 5 years, it's not like as if you are shooting yourself in the leg, but you don't want to over exemplify yourself. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say.
So if I've understood what you're trying to say, Ade, I think this is what I would say about the whole scenario. Yeah, I would say that, again, the way as you saw my LinkedIn profile, I put everything on there. I didn't hold back. So exactly the same as you, actually. I had worked in financial services for 8 years in many different other job roles before I switched to business analysis. And so when I would speak to a hiring manager, I'd say, I have 1 year business analysis experience, but I have all of this back knowledge of the industry that I'm bringing in as well, because all of that counts. The reason why the recruiter told you to add it is because it counts. What it means, Ade, is if we were going to hire you, and I'm speaking as a hiring manager now, if I was going to hire you as a business analyst in a bank, it may mean, because that's two different things. I need to teach you business analysis if you don't have the right level of experience, and then I need to teach you the domain of banking if you don't really know the domain of banking. But if you already have that experience and somebody comes to you and starts to talk to you about transfers or different types of bank accounts or different types of payments, whether domestic or international, like, it's not foreign language to you. You know this. And so when you're now as a business analyst, for example, dealing with stakeholders in your project, you're not going to feel like, I don't know what they're talking about, because you've got the banking domain knowledge. And so that's why it's important to add in. Now, your other point about the 5 year thing, I honestly, your experience is your experience. That's my personal opinion on it. It is unfortunate that some people would kind of go down the route of, like, you're overqualified, but let's also be honest, if you are underqualified, the same story would apply. All you can do is say, present yourself and say, this is the experience that I have. If they decide you're overqualified for that job, don't take that personally. That's just their decision. Fine, move on to the next company. That's how I see it. I just see it as, I'm going to apply, because the reason why I see it that way is because the opposite has happened to me, where I've applied for jobs with no experience, but I still got the job. Why? Because I sold everything. I told them fully, this is what I'm bringing to the table. And based on my background, I believe I would be able to I'll be able to come into this role and still make an impact, despite me not having, this experience and that experience and whatnot. And I managed to get the job. So the flip side is true. Therefore, I don't think you should undersell yourself ever. And neither should you oversell yourself and start lying. Just sell yourself to the current level that you've got. That's my personal approach. Hopefully that answers your question. Sorry, I can't see the full name. Let me come
Thank
to
you.
the page. You're welcome, man. You're welcome. Tinola.
Yeah. Thank you for enlightening us with this. So, can you hear me very well? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, just want to confirm that. Okay, so my question is that so let's say, for instance, on your profile, on your LinkedIn profile, you've got a BA experience. I mean, it has been projected that there's a lot of BA experience, about 2 or 3 different BA experience, but probably you just switch location and then you're trying to apply to get a BA experience, but you've not gotten that yet. And then probably now say there's a new job role totally outside of the business analyst, let's say a customer service advisor. I'm just going to say that. and it's just more like you attending to customer and then receiving calls and all of those things, resolving issues. Would you advise that such person should put that kind of job role on the person profile, and just to considering that the previous experience or the previous certification on education has been on business analyst related? Yeah, that's my question.
Of course, and it's a good question. So it depends. So it depends on a lot of things. Now, for me, I've included everything because my aim was to. So let me show you my profile again, so you can see what I'm saying. Let's do this again. Sorry, present entire screen. It's just quicker and easier. There we go. Okay, so let's look at this. So this is one job I had, which was a senior personal banker. Can you see that? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a senior personal banker. Now, my job as a senior personal banker was obviously selling the bank's products and services, customer service, dealing with customers and all the rest of it, right? Sales and all that kind of stuff. But if you notice, what I've got in my achievements is things that I did which are not quite. So, for example, I could have put things like the revenue that I brought in the business and all the rest of it. But my approach isn't necessarily to sell myself as a salesperson. It's to sell myself as somebody who works on projects and delivers on projects. Okay, which is what a business analyst does. So, despite the job title, if you really look at these things here, they are still written from the perspective of the things that I did which were project related. So I don't talk about how many customer complaints I dealt with and how quickly I resolved them, because I'm not looking to stay in that environment. I'm looking to become a business analyst. So when I was looking to switch to business analysis, right, I would say I have worked as a personal banker, but whilst I was a personal banker, these are the projects that I contributed towards, and this is what I did in those projects, and then this is the achievements that I had in those projects. I'm not talking about like my day-to-day tasks as a salesperson, because that's got nothing to do with business analysis. So I'm not going to waste anybody's time putting that on my profile. So I still put it in the job title and the experience and how long I was there and which company it was, but the actual content is really you if I was to just like remove this job title and change it to business analyst, that would not change. That would stay exactly the same. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, but this was when you're still trying to transition into a business analyst.
Yes.
Yeah. But not for all, but someone that is already a business analyst.
Well, I'm a business analyst, and that's still on there. I haven't removed it.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you already so this is the thing though, Tinyola. The reason why I haven't removed it is because it still speaks to the fact that I have experience in banking or in financial services. I don't want to. If I removed this, that's 7 years of financial services experience that I'm all of a sudden removing from like my profile. Because because I see this quite a lot actually on jobs, and I'm not going to go through the jobs thing, but I see this quite a lot where they say we're looking for business analyst, but somebody who's also worked as an accountant, right? What if you were an accountant in the past and you didn't include that in your CV, in your experience, because you're thinking that's got nothing to do with business analysis? But I've seen jobs that say we're looking for a part qualified accountant to come in as a business analyst because we need that domain knowledge. So there's two things. There's business analysis experience, and then there's domain knowledge. Domain meaning the industry. So if Barclays were to hire me as a business analyst, they won't have to teach me about Barclays products. Nah, I already know. They won't have to teach me about banking clients. I already know. I used to work with you as a salesperson. In fact, any bank could hire me today, no matter which bank it is. I already know about current accounts, savings accounts, loans, credit cards, mortgages, overdrafts, credit cards. Like, I know about all of those things. Wealth management, flipping, business banking. I know about all of those things. You don't have to teach me the domain, but I'm just coming in as a business analyst. That's the difference. So don't discredit your history. is what I'm saying, because that still plays a part in, because now when I'm like, if I was to be hired by a bank and I'm going to speak to the customer service rep or the marketing manager or the sales director about a project we're working on, and I'm doing a workshop with them and they're speaking to me in this technical language, they won't have to worry about the fact that I don't get it, because I'm like, listen, I've got the domain knowledge. I may not have worked as a business analyst before in this industry, but I know this industry. So you don't have to explain to me the difference between a credit card and a debit card, for example, because I already know it. Like this, I live and breathe this domain. So don't discredit your previous history, because domain knowledge is still a big part. If you look at, for those of you who know DOBAC, I may not even have time to go through it, to be honest with you, but if you look at Bubbook, it talks about that concept of domain knowledge and business analysis knowledge, and the fact that you need both. You do need both. If you look at this Bubbook thing, it will go into that in a little bit more detail. Same thing with the BCS book, the business analysis book. It explains this whole concept of business analysis knowledge, but also domain knowledge. I can't find the book, but yeah. So don't discredit your previous experience just because you don't have the job title of business analyst, is what I'm saying.
Can I ask a question?
Of course, can you?
Yeah. So I want to really ask this question. Maybe the deck could don't.
Gotcha.
That's where I'm coming from. So the question is, what really makes one a business analyst? Because a few months back, I enrolled with a company. So that I interned as a business analyst, but I discovered that during our training, they were just mixing everything together. We work like a data analyst. We did everything. So at the point it was really getting confusing, and I was paying money, so I had to pull out because the whole thing, they were just mixing it together. So what my expectation was, I'm a business analyst, go straight to the point, prepare me in the next 3 to 4 months, then I will be able to confidently apply for a job. So I became more confused even before. I wasn't as confused as I was when I later joined them. So what really makes one a business analyst?
That, Akinyi, is not a simple question. But I will say this. Business analyst is not a job title.
Okay.
But you can obviously be hired with the job title of business analyst. So understand that business analysis is a skill set.
Okay.
And you can be doing business analysis even without the job title business analyst.
Okay.
So what the answer to your question in my mind would be, a business analyst is simply the person hired to ensure that business analysis is done. But without that job title, that doesn't mean business analysis is not being done.
All right.
So what I would do is I would look at what is business analysis, right? Then compare that to what you were doing. Then figure out, okay, because the reason why it's hard to answer as well is because the world of projects is very broad. You could be working in waterfall versus agile, and the role of a business analyst will look very, very different, or at least different enough. You could also be working in a project that's still in its early stages of discovery. No one really knows what we're going to be doing, and we're still unclear about what we want to deliver. That compared to a project that's fully defined, we know exactly what we want, we just need to build the thing and deliver the thing. Those two things, the way you do business analysis is very different. So business analysis is very broad. So the way I think about it is, learn what is business analysis, then compare that to what you were doing. And this is exactly how I did even with the previous jobs that I had before. I had the ones which had a title business analyst. I thought about what exactly is business analysis. So for example, a business analysis is about having a concept, like agreement from all the people on what the problem we're solving, understanding what the problem is, and then being clear around what it is that we're solving. Well, I did that even though I didn't have the job title business analyst in previous roles, should I say. But equally speaking, Ikini, do you know what's so funny? I've actually had a business analyst job where I didn't do business analysis. I was doing data analysis. When I really understood and I really looked at it, I was like, hold on a second. I'm a business analyst by paper, but I'm not actually doing business analysis here. I'm just like looking at spreadsheets and all sorts. Like, I'm not really doing any analysis. So what is a business analyst? For me, is the answer really more is what is the answer is look at what is business analysis, then compare that to what you're doing in your role, and then if you can, the more boxes you can tick, then you will know that okay, I'm in the right lines here.
All right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay. Mency, you got your hand up.
Yeah, thank you for today's session. I just want to ask regarding the first two questions you answered. I think it's more of looking at it in the real world, that's the CV, and looking at it in LinkedIn. Yes, you said that LinkedIn gives you the leverage to showcase everything, but when it comes to CV, you're limited because you just need like 1.5 pages and you can't write the history of what you did in 1990, in 2000s, and in this particular field. So for people like us that are moving away from one career to this new skills as business analysis, so you may not have that space to explain everything. And we've also had a session where somebody advised us, okay, if that job or if your experience is not related to what you're looking for, then there's no need putting it in the CV. So you can see that the real world is actually different from LinkedIn. And part of these applications on LinkedIn, I've tried it several times, they have the easy apply section that you still need to upload your CVs, and you don't have the opportunity to link the recruiter to your page. So which shows that you need to limit what you write. But if you have the opportunity of telling the recruiter, this is my LinkedIn page, okay, I think it's far better. And so what do you think about that?
So those two questions in there that I heard. So the first question is 100%, you want your CV to sell yourself to somebody who's going to be able to do the job. If I was going to apply for a pilot job, all of my business analysis experience is very meaningless, right? So I'm not going to bother talking about it in any great detail because it had nothing to do with flying planes. But obviously, if I did a training or if I did some sort of program to teach me piloting, then yeah, I'll talk about that, right? So 100%. But let's be honest, business analysis, as I mentioned, is a very transferable skill. So it took me a long time. So I showed you earlier my LinkedIn profile, and you can go through it in your own time and look at the previous jobs, because it took me a long time to make the link between how can I sell the business analysis skill for a job that wasn't really linked to business analysis, because that's the first thing I did. But if your job was completely not related, then fair enough, there's not much you can really do there. But to answer your second question about the recruiter now, this is again another powerful thing about LinkedIn that I love, and I think you 100% don't even sleep on this, right? If I'm to share my screen again, and most of you might already know this, but this is what I do. Every time I look at a job, okay, as you said, some job there's an easy apply button over here, so you click on it, you click next, and done. The application is sent. But you know what else is really powerful about LinkedIn is that let me refresh this. Come back into. Come on, load up. There we go. Are you gonna load up nicely for me, please? There. Go. Is that you can actually. There we go. So easy apply, as you've mentioned, right? Which is an easy thing to do. But what you will also find with most of these is that you can see who the hiring manager is. I can't see it for this one for some reason, but nonetheless, even if you can't see it, I would look for who the hiring person is in Harvey Nash, and when I find the recruiter, I will send them a DM and say, hey, I have just applied for this job. Send them the link to the job and say, I've just applied for this job and here's my profile. My CV is attached on the message, right? Because you want to make their jobs easy. My CV is attached on the message for your review. Here's a link to my profile, my LinkedIn profile. But to make it easy for them, I always say, I'd love to have a 10-minute chat with you about the job, just to see like what they're hiring for, what they're looking for. But do you know what? By doing that, number one, I'm forcing the recruiter to look at my CV, and I'm forcing them to look at my profile before they have a chance to like sift through all of the things that are in their like inbox. I'm reaching out to them directly saying, hey, I've applied, like, let's have a chat. And then when we do have a chat, we'll come out of that chat. Even if I'm not going to be successful, that's fine. I've built that connection with that recruiter now. So, that should hopefully help. But that's what I do. Personally, there you go. This was good. You can see it straight away. So as soon as I've applied if I'm going to apply for this, message that person straight away, and say, I've just applied. Let's talk. And then that's how they would then see both. Right. Let's go back. I think I saw a question in the chat. Oluwole, as a BA working remotely with 2 or 3 organizations at a time, how do I put this? Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. To be honest with you, I know many people who've done this, and it's an interesting game. That's what I'm going to say. But how does this link in? How does this link to LinkedIn? Well, I would still put them on there, but obviously it will then be up to you in what order you put them in. Because that's CBM here. It's wild that people get 2 or 3 jobs for remote, but it's up to you in terms of how the way LinkedIn would do it. I'll show you actually. Let me show you my profile again. I should just keep sharing my screen, shouldn't I? Be easier, right? Okay, so let me show you my profile again. Actually, just so you can see how this kind of looks. When you go on your profile, what you will notice is, for example,
I'm always in front.
Sorry. Oh, I thought someone said something there. So what you will notice is, if I add an experience on here, right? Add position. What it will ask me is, am I currently working here? Let's just say I put yes. What will then happen is, it will then ask me which one do I want to put as my number 1 job, because let's put it in some way order. LinkedIn would automatically order your jobs by date, but if the dates overlap, it will then ask you which order you want to put it in. And what you will then have to figure out is, who am I going to put as number 1, who am I going to put as number 2, and who am I going to put as number 3. And then in on here you can also put, you see where it says full-time, you can also put remote. Rather than full-time, you can put remote. I'm pretty sure you can put remote. Let me just make sure. Let me see. Employment type. Okay, no, contract freelance is probably your best option. But yeah, that's the only thing. So you can do it, but I'm not going to lie to you. It's a risky game, because even the recruiter will say, so when did you work for who? When did you work for who? And it's not in the real world, yes, it's common, but in the world of like applying for jobs, like recruiters always act a bit like, wait, how did you work for 3 jobs at once, kind of thing. So you kind of have to figure out how you put them on there, and how you also then make it not sound confusing. Because I remember when I had a situation where I was when I was still working at Barclays, I volunteered for another company when I was learning to do business analysis. They allowed me to volunteer for free, and so I'd put both of them on my CV, and then people would be like, so you work for Barclays but you work for here as well, and I kind of had to explain it. And I realized that actually that the fact that recruiters were getting confused by my CV, that didn't work in my favor. So I had to kind of explain it in my summary section, sort of thing. Because every time a recruiter called me, they'll always say, "I'm confused by a CV." I'm like, "Oh, that's not a good start, man. You don't want your CV to be confusing." So, yeah. But yeah. Right. Any other questions? I know we've gone over by 11 minutes. David, I'm going to send you an invoice after this. Any questions?
Okay, I have a question. David's laughing. All right, thank you so much, Thando, for this session. It was really insightful. We really appreciate you. So my question is, what will be your advice?
Oh, don't know what happened. Did Rookie just drop off everyone else? Adewale will come to you. Get your hand up.
Should I wait for Rookie or I should continue?
If you have a question for me, go ahead. If you have a question for Rookie, wait for Rookie.
Oh, okay, it's for you. It's for you, Thando. Funny enough, this is like a personal question I like to ask. Business analyst with London market experience seems to be an interesting domain for me, and it seems impenetrable. I think that's like because I literally spoke with I've spoken to several recruiters and they're like,
Yeah, there's no hope. No hope. Yeah.
There's no hope.
Well, there is hope, but go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, so the question is if you have any idea of anyone that has recently landed a role in that space.
Yes, I do. I know a few people who landed a role in that space, and don't you know? I'm also on the queue, Adewale. I'm waiting. You know what I mean? Because London market pays nicely for business analysts. I love it. So London market it's hard to penetrate for sure. So the people I'm thinking about who've done it, one of them, they took on a permanent junior type role to begin with. Took a bit of a pay cut, but they did it because that was the only way that company was taking them on. That's the first thing. Another person, they went through a consultancy. So if you're lucky enough, you can actually find a consultant company who will have a London market insurance client who will then outsource you to that client. And that's how you could build that experience. And the third way that I know someone did it is that they just worked for like a general insurance company, like think like Legal and General, for example, and because they'd worked there for so long, like something like 6 or 7 years, the hiring manager was happy to take them on into the London market because they felt like you understand insurance as a domain, but obviously London market is a bit different. It's a specialist insurance. That's why it's impenetrable. It's a specialist. It's an insurance for insurance. I know that sounds crazy, but it's a very different domain, and because of that, it's very, very technical, and that's why it feels hard to penetrate. It's a very technical word, and by technical I mean you'll most likely be a technical BA as opposed to like a business only business analyst. You know, you'll be looking at SQL scripts and stuff like that. So I understand why they are very picky with as an industry as a whole, but hopefully you can find a general insurance company, a consultancy company, or even a junior position. Those are the 3 ways that I've seen people break into it.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
All right, then. Thank you very much, everyone that has asked questions. Thank you very much, Thando, for your time and the insights you've given to us today. It was indeed a wonderful session. I know we still have a lot of questions, but because of time, what we'll do is, Thando, please we ask that you drop your LinkedIn profile on the chat so we can connect with you, ask questions, and also learn more from you. So thank you very much, Thando. We appreciate you for being present for today's session. All right, so thank you everyone that made our time to be in today's session. Let's do well to connect with one another on LinkedIn, on our WhatsApp groups. If you're yet to join our WhatsApp group, please, I think David will assist to drop the link on the chat. So if you're yet to join our WhatsApp group, please join. Yeah, please join. I think that's it for today's session. So thank you everyone for being available. We appreciate you for your time, and we look forward to having you all in our next session. And also, Thando, we look forward to having you join us again. So thank you very much.
Awesome. I've enjoyed it. Thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for being here on a Saturday evening. If you have any more questions, definitely reach out to me on LinkedIn.
All right. Please send in the reactions and the comments to appreciate them though. All right. Thank you everyone. See you in our next session. Bye for now.